So yeah, I'm in Airlie Beach. It's good, dude. Regional Queensland's a wild place. Like it's always we talk about it a lot. I guess it's the best place to do shows. Maybe in the world. I mean,
Queensland's fucking great.
It's so good, dude. So my first show up here in Cairns was at a backpacker pub. But like, it's really only a Queensland thing. But like, pretty much every hostel is backed on to what is like the same owners run a hostel next to a pub, and the pubs are always loose. Do you remember in Cairns when we stayed at a place called Gilligan's, which was a backpacker bar / hostel?
Yes, yeah. That was very loose, and I thought initially, I'm like, this is one of a kind. This is crazy.
They're everywhere. No. They're just like they're exclusively just in regional Queensland towns. I was doing my show at the one just around the corner, the Jack, and it was a great stage. You know, by the way, this is when you know you're in Queensland, when you're doing your show in an outdoor beer garden, and it's just not a problem. Like the show was outdoors. There was people smoking in the crowd during my show. Yeah?
That's so weird.
Strange. Yeah, and then there's hostels. So the stage is like here, right? And then behind me on either side, there is people's actual rooms where like there's backpackers who I guess have been stuck in Australia for like 2 years now, just staying, right?
Yeah, and I guess they're not backpackers at all. Like they don't have anything on their back because they can't go anywhere. They're just packers. They're just packed up and they're waiting to move.
Yeah, they're just stranded. I guess they're
I hadn't thought about that. I haven't seen a backpacker for years.
Yeah, but they're still around. Like, but they just like, oh, I had to get a job here and now I just live here.
That's so funny. I hadn't thought about them for ages. Poor backpackers.
Because like it's still cheap and like I think I guess the hostel must be running like long-term accommodation for a lot of them because they're not getting any people in. Yeah,
they've gone from like 1 or 2 days for $60 to like an 18-month lease.
Yeah, probably. So like there's these guys right now. The backstage, if they go, oh, here's your green room. It's not a green room. I walk into a kitchen and there's a British dude just cooking his dinner, like outside.
What was he making?
I think he was making like an omelette, which I thought was very strange at dinner time.
That is a strange.
Is that a
dinner.
British thing?
It's more of a breakfast vibe. The old omelette.
Yeah. And he's like, mate, sorry, is this why it's called VIP area? And I was like, oh, no, it's fine, dude. Trust me. Trust me, mate. I don't feel very important right now. You can stay. He's like, oh, I can head off. I was like, no, mate, you keep cooking. You got to make dinner.
If your backstage has a kitchen in it, that's either so fancy or just a kitchen.
But if your backstage has a kitchen that's already being used when you go in there, then that's just a shithole.
Yeah.
Right? So,
oh man, my backstage has a kitchen versus they don't have a backstage, so they put me in the kitchen.
Dude, my backstage was backed onto 3 people's houses where they were living.
Yeah.
Right? And then on the top level just smelled like weed and cigarettes. These dudes were having the best night of their life.
Yeah.
I hear them trying to figure out what's going on in the venue. By the way, and I want to stress this, they're not in the venue, right? Let's make that very clear. They were not in the venue. So they were like, I wonder what's going on there. I think it's like a band. And one of them was like, nah, it can't be a band. I heard the bloke. He was just talking, right? And they are going back and forth. And then there's one like guy who's like Belgian, right? And he goes, look, this is a terrible accent, but this is how it sounded like. He was like, Tolkien? Right? And then he's like, what do you mean Tolkien? It can't be but I don't know. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know what accent that is. Was it like Scottish? I don't know. He was like, it can't be just Tolkien. And I was like, me and Sammy are sitting there, the guys opening my show, listening to these guys. I'm like, well, fuck, he's not wrong. Like, I am just going to stand up there and talk for an hour. Then I get on. I'm like 10 minutes into my show, and I realized these dudes are just leaning over their balcony, watching the show from not in the venue for free.
Hey, that's theft. You should have told them to turn around.
I then start having a chat to him, right? And then it gets like a bit into the show. They start heckling me from not in the venue. And I was like, hey, dude, don't heckle
Can't even
me.
kick him out. Like, what? Like you go, get the fuck out. You go, man, I was never here.
I know, that's the thing. He has, like, I have no power over this man. He hasn't paid for a ticket. If anything, I'm just ruining his regular, like, balcony night on a Tuesday where he just smokes a joint.
The power that man holds, you must have been sweating there. Like, if this goes actually poorly, you're fucked.
But I also had 200 people on my side who had paid for the show cheering me on whenever I wrecked him. So I would he was like, well, you ask me what I do for a job. And I was like, mate, like, it's fucking very evident you don't have one. I'm like, what the fuck are we going to be doing here? And then it's just going back and forth. Yeah. And eventually the venue, they just start pulling down these blinds. Right? So this guy can't watch the show anymore. I'm halfway through a joke and then I hear just then the guy starts running up the balcony, still trying to get the free show and trying to avoid the blinds that are slowly coming down. It was truly incredible. It was a very fun show. And that's the thing. The show before that, it was 1,000 people in one of the most prestigious theaters in our country. Yeah. And then the very next show, I'm getting heckled by a Belgian bloke or some European bloke.
That's stand-up. Like, stand-up will always check your ego.
It's so humbling.
Yeah, you go from 1,000 seats, biggest show you've ever done, to a shithole. Like, that's what stand-up is. You can never get to... It's the best. You can never get too arrogant or satisfied with where you are, because every now and then you'll be getting yelled at by a stranger in a hole.
And it's the fucked part is, like, that... I mean, look, Perth was so much fun, but for completely different reasons. Yeah. That was the most fun show of the tour. Like that and Mackay. Mackay was just loose. All these regional Queensland shows. We did that Bowls Club last year. I went back there a couple nights ago to do the Bowls Club. And, dude, there's a cover band playing through the wall, right? But it's not any type of cover band. They do karaoke with a band.
Oh, no.
So, like, this is the thing.
So does that mean that your show would be interrupted, but every now and then you would have a terrible singer and a good singer?
Like, say if I went and get a drink, you would just hear like a band playing like AC/DC, and then someone who's not a professional go,
forgetting the lyrics
through the walls. And then on the other side of me, on the actual, because it's at a bowls club, on the actual bowls area, there's an 18th happening. So my show's in a function room.
Who the fuck is having their 18th at a bowls club? That's the biggest problem I have.
It was packed, this bowls club. Like, we couldn't get a park in the car park. We went there last year. There wasn't a lot going on there.
Yeah, that's true.
But it was pumping. Although last year where there was music coming through, because I remember getting heckled by Maroon 5 at one point of the show.
Yeah, Maroon 5 have really gone downhill.
Yeah, Adam Levine was fucking singing during my set.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's good to be back. I'm doing Rockhampton next week, and I already know it's going to be fucked. And
have you brought a helmet?
I know. I'm like, Frenchie replied to my story the other day and was just like, "Good luck out there, soldier." All right. He was just wishing me all the best.
If you guys aren't familiar with Rockhampton, so far, 2 people back when touring was around in a row have been assaulted at that venue. Are you doing the same venue?
I think so. I don't know how many venues there are there.
Guys, if you're coming to Luke's show, let's make it 3. Let's keep that hot streak going.
Let's go the hat trick. All right. I'll bring my boxing gloves. Let's fucking go.
I would love to see one of your 15-year-old girl TikTok fans just throw a haymaker, you know? It's they, them!
Yeah, I do like a fuck joke about Hitler, and they're like, that's against the community guidelines.
How do I report a joke in real life?
Yeah.